in the middle of the well. Well, I know he never, yes, he'll never let me down. Well, he just the truth. Yeah, praise him in the morning. I love it. Oh, I praise him in the evening. I love it. Well, you ought to praise him in the evening. I love it. Well, I love to. Oh, yes. Oh, I love to praise him. Oh, yeah. Oh, I love to praise him. Oh, yeah. Oh, I love to praise him. Yes, I do. Well, I love to. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, now he's my rock. Oh, yes, he is. And so well, in the middle of the well. Oh, I know he'll never let me down. No, he's just a jewel that I praise in the morning. I love somebody ought to praise him in the noonday. I love it. Well, you ought to praise him in the evening. I love it. Oh, I love to. Oh, he's so well. Now he's my rock. Oh, yes, he is. I know that he's the well in the middle of the well. Oh, I know he'll never let me down. He's just a joy that somebody ought to praise him in the morning. I love it. Oh, you ought to just praise him in the noonday. I love it. You ought to get on your feet and praise him in the evening. I love it. Well, I love to. I love it. I love to praise. I love to praise. I love to praise. Oh, yeah. I love to praise. I love to give him glory. I love to praise him. I love clapping my hands. I love to praise him. I love to worship him. I love to glorify him. I love to lift him high. I love to praise him. And turn it over to Sister Rose. Let's give her a hearty amen as she comes.
Yes. This scripture come to me a few days ago, and I began to think about it when I read about Enoch. Enoch had a testimony, and the testimony was that he pleased God. And I thought, was that why he pleased God so much? Until he translated him. You know what translate means? It means to leave from here and go straight to heaven and don't have death. What a time that must have been. I mean, I try to imagine that in my mind. Enoch had to be shouting all the way through the sky. I mean, God's translated him and take him to heaven, and he never died. God, I wish that would happen to me, but it's not going to. But the scripture says, by faith that Enoch was translated, that he should not see death, and was not found, because God had translated him. For before his translation, he had this testimony that he pleased God. You know what? I'm thinking that to please God is what we all ought to be striving for. But what in the world, what did he do? How did he do it? That it gave him a trip to heaven without ever dying. God changed it on the moment, took him out. And I thought every one of us is going to leave this world. What are you going to leave behind? What kind of testimony will you have? That I did it right. I didn't waver. I didn't hold up anything. I didn't make excuses, but I made it. I want to leave behind that no matter what you face in your life, you can do it. With God, we can do all things. Nothing can stop us. And so if you leave nothing else behind, leave behind strength. Leave behind power, commitment. All these things that make a difference in your life to whether or not you survive. And I don't want to just survive serving God. I want to be happy and overjoyed doing this. And I love my life. I love what I'm doing because God has put such joy in my heart to serve him. When Enoch was translated, we don't know all what happened during that period. It ain't even necessary. But it's not but one person in the Bible that was translated, and that was Enoch. What made him so different? But something between him and God was such a relationship until it changed everything. You got to look at your life today and say, have you made a difference, and did you really show that you were one of a kind, but you could still do it? Nobody just has to be one of a kind. We can say, I want to be that too, and you can be, no matter what the devil says. You got to understand this. This life is so precious, and God is looking for somebody, for the most part, that he can use them and show himself mighty in their lives. And he wants to do that. You just got to let him. Pull so close to God that whatever's going on in your life, that it's just a test. It doesn't take away my victory. It doesn't make me feel depressed. It doesn't make me feel down. None of those things. Because I know this too will pass. That I'm going through this for a reason and for a purpose, but I'm going to come out on top. See, one thing I like about this, you're going to take a test in the natural, you hope you win. You hope you pass. But with this, you know how it's going to end. We already know what the end is going to be. So since I know that, there's nothing in the world that is greater than having that type of security in God, that I'm going to make it. I know I am. Some of the darkest hours of our life, if we can look up and say, I want to thank you for victory, not because it's at hand right now, but it's on its way. Thank him for it. That song is so beautiful. And I thought every person here ought to sing it to themselves. Yes, it's just a test. So when the devil shows up, say it's just a test. I'm not going to get upset. I'm not going to lose my victory or nothing. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I refuse to. I got to pray for you tonight, Ariana. You have spirits that plague your mind constantly. They're there talking all the time. I got to get rid of them. Because if you don't get rid of them, he'll make you sad, depressed. What is all this? From one thing to another. I see these spirits. I see how they get into the minds of God's people, and they do a job on them. My job is to go in there and get them little rascals and beat the crap out of them. Yes. Can't just let you hang around. Honey, I'm going to get them things out, and you're going to grin all the time. Because sometimes, you can't even smile because they're talking to you and telling you that you're a liar. You don't understand it's the devil all the time, so you just kind of go along with the program. But he can't stay there, honey. He's not supposed to live there. And since he ain't, we have to tell him to get out. Give him an eviction notice. Here's your eviction. Get out. I'm not going to put up with it. Let me go back to my message. I'll take care of that at the end of the service. Every Christian should have a testimony. What has God done for you in your lifetime? I understand today that my grandmother lived such a life of faith and trust in God until her life, her testimony lives with me to this day. She's been gone, oh my God, 40, 50 years. Who was I pregnant with? David. Yeah, it was David when I went home for a funeral. So that's almost 50 years ago. To this day, the testimony that she had, I draw from it. To this day, she had a gift of faith. I mean, she trusted God for everything, no matter what it was. I observed her. I watched her life. And to this day, that testimony is still there. You could be dead 100 years if you lived a life and had a good testimony and walking with God. The scripture said Enoch walked with God. They walked together. He worshiped him. God don't walk with everybody, because if he did, he'd get tired of you. But no, with this case, you got to look at the fact he walked with God and he had a testimony. I heard Brother Ainsley say one time, said, that's all you need. He had a testimony. He pleased God. I mean, no, you don't need nothing else. That is just over the top. He had a testimony. What is yours? I don't care whether you live a few years or you live a lot of years. You ought to have testimony. That should bless people's lives, that after they're gone from this earth, that you still can think about some things they said and done and what it means to you. I tell my kids they are blessed because not everybody have somebody to leave this world and you can still put them in the VCR or put them in the player and watch them preach and what have you. You have an advantage. You may not want to do it at first, but somewhere you're going to stick that in there. See, what about, how did she deal with these things? How did she handle this stuff? How could all this come together? Because God is in my life doing what has to be done. I said to Cliff the other day coming back from seeing the guys, I said, I never thought it would be this simple to not have sugar. And he said to me, because you're always determined to do this. And I said, Lord, thank you for when you teach me something, I don't just listen. I move with it. The more I studied it, the more I realized this is not healthy for me. I shouldn't be here. And I didn't eat a lot of sugar. My children can tell you I was very low on sugar. But when next I thought, God, I should be having withdrawals. I don't have any. I'm not sad and saying, what am I going to do? It's okay. It really is. Everything that you make up in your mind to do, be determined to do it, you can get there. People that don't get there are people who never made up their mind to go to it. So it's about whether I am going to make a difference. I want to make a difference for my kids. That after I'm gone, they say, what would mama do in a situation like this? What did mama tell us? How did she handle this? Look back on my life and draw from it as I draw from my grandmother's life. And think the strength she had. I remember she took care of somebody's children. And the lady got mad with my grandmother about whatever. And said, you tried to poison my kids, which was such a lie. And my grandmother, she had a bad habit sitting just like this. So the woman said, I'm going to have you arrested. You tried to poison my kids. Never happened. Not even nowhere close to it. I don't know how she assumed that. And I thought, I need to kick her butt. That's the way I felt. I thought, you're just jumping on my grandmother and giving, I need to kick your butt for her. She's saved. I'm not. So this is over the top. You're sitting here blaming my grandmother for this stuff. She done no such thing, and she's not saying nothing. And finally, she said something to my grandmother that triggered it, and she said, I don't care what you do. Didn't concern herself with it. She had a peace and a calmness about her relationship with God. Nothing shook this woman. She was so solid. We need solid people today. Back in the day, I didn't understand the value of it. But as I live my life, I understand the value of what it is to have something. Give your children a spiritual inheritance. the money that you leave behind, if you have any or whatever, nothing will do more than a spiritual inheritance. What did we leave for our children? What did we leave for people who crossed our paths? I thought today, I'm going to bring it out at the end of the service. This man, Paul, said he came here, I think about a year ago, Nelson. Yeah, and he brought me a picture, the most beautiful picture I've ever seen. And he did the crucifix of Jesus, just the head and the thorns. And around it he put red roses. He said, Sister Rose, that's for you. Ever since I came here, I sat over in that area, and you said something about don't let nothing stop you. You can do whatever you need to do with God. He said, I listened to that. That's over a year ago. It's still there. So I called him in the office to thank him personally for that picture. It is the most beautiful. To think, he said, Sister Rose, God just guided my hands. He said, I'm not homeless anymore. And now I work in rehab with people, with drug addicts and alcoholics. And one place he's been made a manager of. And he was so calm. And I said, I can't thank you enough for doing this. I can't thank you enough that you thought about me after a year. What is this that radiates from you to people that stays with them? No matter where they go, no matter what they do, they are. You remember Sister Rose? You remember Sister Rose? May I leave enough for people into their entire life. They will say, I remember when. I remember this. I remember that. How important is that? To me, very important. Brother and Sister Hennessy in Oklahoma used to sing, What Will I Leave Behind? I'm going to try to look that song up and see if I can find it. It says, after I've traveled to worlds unknown. And it got some other beautiful words to it. What will I leave behind? And I thought, Enoch left a great testimony. And what he showed us, how important it is for us to please God. If you say you love somebody and you're giving your life to them, but you don't seek to please them, pleasing him is what makes the difference. It's what makes the difference. So you got to look at your life, not just for when you live, but when you die. That somebody remembers some of the things that you said and how they watch you in situations and how you dealt with them and the strength that was demonstrated. People always say, Sister Rose, such a strong woman. I'm strong because God is strong. That's what makes me strong. Because when you get him in your life, he takes away weakness. Because if I really have a relationship with him, that's going to make me strong. I think some people don't have that because they don't have a relationship anyway. But if you got a true relationship between you and God, I'm telling you, nothing in the world can shake your faith. God is in control. He's in control. You need to understand that. So, if I as a Christian don't leave a testimony or even have one while I'm living, then what? Some people can set up in this church and testify, and it'll just knock your socks off. You think, wow, you know God did something for them. You can feel it. It is beautiful. It's awesome. And I can't say enough. Every day of your life, you are building for the time that you must leave this world and leave something behind. Everybody, no matter who you are. I think, as I look back over my life, I think about a lot of people that I've crossed paths with in my life. And their goal must be, I just want to make God happy. If I can make him happy, and I saw a lot of that with the old saints. Sometimes I say, boy, if they could come back now, they wouldn't believe this is church. This world has come to a real mess. And the greatest tragedy of it all is that the church is a mess. And what would my grandmother think? She called us, this is an unthankful generation. Unholy. She was a lazy generation. I thought, oh no, lazy is full bloom now. You know why? Because everything we do, including holding down a job, is sitting on your rear end. When he meant for man to work, he meant for him to work. He meant for him to break out with a sweat. Almost so many jobs now is sitting down. That's why people are having issues and problems with their back and their rear end and everything else. They sit too much. But he meant for man to be active, moving around, doing things that you should do, and be an example for other people. I'm going to show you don't have to give up no matter how rough it is. Quit telling yourself you can't win because so a man thinking his heart, so is he. So if I keep telling myself I can't make it because somebody else didn't make it, I don't base my life off of what somebody else do, but rather what the promises of God is telling me. Yes. David said, I will offer to thee the sacrifice of thanksgiving and will call upon the name of the Lord. I will pay my vows unto the Lord now in the presence of all his people, in the court of the Lord's house, in the midst of thee. O Jerusalem, praise the Lord. Is that not missing in people's lives? He said, I will praise you sacrificially. Maybe I don't feel good. You'll feel better when you start praising him. You'll feel better. Offer up a sacrifice of praise. I'm just so tired. I got a headache. Offer up a sacrifice of praise. It makes a difference. It makes a difference. You look at people and say, come on. Even if you don't feel like it. If you don't feel like praying, pray anyway. No matter what. I have been tired and go to prayer and think, God, I'm so tired today. He said, Rose, just lay in my presence. When you feel tired, just lay in my presence. And when I lay in his presence, tiredness began to escape because I get into a deep spirit of prayer. And prayer is so good. I got up the other morning, had to finish the message, and I woke up around 4 o'clock. I was so drunk with sleep. I mean, I was really starry-eyed and in the game. And I thought, but I can't go back to bed, because if I go back to bed and don't finish this message, that's not going to work. So I decided today, I thought, I'm finished. I'm doing messages early. I usually wait till around Wednesday, Thursday. I'm studying all week, but before I really get the message, I'm going to wait till about that time. I was so sleepy. Do you know the more I got into the word, the more the sleep just went away. But if you give into it, just a few more weeks. No, the kingdom of God's requires haste. That I get it done. That I take care of this. Because soon, without even understanding or knowing, we are going to make an exit. I look at people and think, are you ready for the exit? Quit living your life like you got a whole bunch of years left, that I'm just going to do it. No, whatever time you got left, make it all count. Make it all count. Don't just find yourself in a place where, I'm just going to take it easy. Do you know you can't take it easy when the times, the days are evil? The devil is working overtime. He's trying to make you just worn out, too tired. I don't have this and I don't have that. No, come on. Think about it. I got to move whether I feel like it. You get in prayer, you start praying and thanking him. I think sometimes we quit begging in prayer, we'd be better off. We just start thanking him. You got so much to be thankful for. That God has done this, what he's done for you. Just praise him. Just glorify him. Yes. I was thinking the other day, thinking about myself. I have never reached a situation in the ministry that I could not deal with. I'm a very open person. I'll tell you anything. Sometimes I tell people things, want to say, you said that. Yeah. Don't use some beating around the bush, just say it. Here it is. I deal with all kind of subjects, all kind of issues. all kind of situations. But you got to say in your heart, I can do this because he called me to do this. So no matter what, you're never going to baffle me like, oh my God, what am I going to say about that? Oh, because he's going to give me what to say. He just said, open your mouth. Hey, I'll put it in there. And I open my mouth as wide as I can get it. Give me all of it. Because I'm ready for that. I want to somehow help people to come out of this closet they live in and start enjoying God. The devil isolates people. When he isolates them, he depresses them. I'm just shut up in a room. Come out. Every time somebody gets extremely depressed, close the blinds, shut the door. Don't do that. Make up your mind, no, I ain't closing no door. I'm coming out. I'm going to talk. That's one thing I tell my daughter, Nisa. She's never been a great talker. She said, how you doing? Okay. Something wrong? No. I said, I need you to tell me what's wrong. Not really. Tell me what's wrong. You got to keep going in and pulling it and pulling it and pulling it until you tired by the time she say, this is what it is. Please don't tire me out. Say it. I'm trying to pull it out piece by piece. I want her to understand the value in being an open person. A person that can share their innermost feelings no matter what. That I don't have to ball up in a knot and think that nobody understands. Open up. If you can open up with God, you can open up with anybody. But it's hard to get people there because they don't see him. But you got to open up and say, Lord, here I am. I want to be strong. Look at your children. They're watching you. You are their example. What can they say? Well, Mama never worried about it. Didn't worry about it. She took care of business. Daddy didn't care about it. He didn't worry about it, but he took care of business. That's what it got to be for the kingdom. No matter what's going on, no matter what's happening, I got to open up. Do you know how much better every person feels that is going through a difficult time in their life? The minute they open that flap and let it out, it just lifts things off of you. I'm telling you, you feel so good, so relieved, so, what? I feel like I just shed a pound or 10 pounds of weights. Talk. How important it is. We don't know where you are unless you share. You want God to do all the talking for you. He's not going to do it. He gave you a flap. Open it up. Let it come out. Speak about it. So I'm so tired of being this closed person. They're hard to get to know. Closed people are hard to get to know. But what are you going to leave your children? They said, well, what did mama do in a situation like this? What did daddy do in a situation like this? That's what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going and pray. So when you're up against it, and it looks like there's no way to get out of this storm, you got to remember, there's a way out. You got to trust God, and you keep fighting until you get through it. And you don't give up because you get wet and you get cold. You just keep pushing, no matter what. Vitally important, vitally. Sometimes I tell my kids, I said, y'all will find evenings, times that you'll sit down and laugh yourself to death about things I said and did. Because I can make you laugh, really. And I said, because sometime on Sunday night, Mont comes over and we're sitting there talking, and they'll go way back. Mama, you remember that? No, I don't. Mont said the other day, he said, Mama, I was living in my own apartment, had my job, and paying my rent. And you called me over to the house for something that you thought that I didn't do right. I said, get on in the room. I'm getting ready to whoop your butt. He said, I thought I'm paying my rent. I moved out. I'm getting a whooping. Yeah, get in there. And then when he came out, he said, thanks for the rod of correction. I don't even remember that. I said, you actually think? He said, yeah, I come out. I said, Mama, thanks for the rod of correction. I don't know what he did. I don't even remember the situation. And I'm sitting up here thinking, I actually said, how old were you? He said, I don't know, but I was grown. I was grown. And you pulled me in the room and gave me a whipping? Come on, are you kidding me? I said, well, your twin got a whooping. How old was she, 25? 25. I never liked cluttered drawers and dirt anywhere. I cannot live like that. The twin, I came home, the girl twin, I came home and I went in a room and I opened the drawers and it was just packed with stuff. Just packed. You couldn't hardly get the drawer open. I got so mad, I said, Nita, come here. Look at these drawers. You know that ain't going to sit well with me. I told y'all for years, everything has a drawer. And you don't cram it in anywhere, not anywhere. And she said, now, she was getting ready to get married. She was engaged. And, in fact, she already had her townhome well furnished off and everything. And I gave her, let her make a decision. And I said, now, I never liked this, and you know that. I said, now, you can either take me whooping your rear end or move on to your house. She said, I take the whooping. And my kid said, are you stupid? You gonna take a whooping? You got a house over there with the key and everything, and you talking about, I'll just take the whooping. So since she took it, I gave it to her. You shouldn't have did that. She knew how I felt about that. So, understand this, how important it is for us to understand if we do wrong, there are consequences for it. Not everybody's mother whoop them at 25, but you're not Rose Banks. That's the difference. The girl told my daughter in high school, she was pregnant. She was a teenager. She was pregnant, and my daughter said to her, how did your mother take that? She said, oh, they may act like they don't like it at first, but they'll get over it. They start treating you right back the same. And she told Lisa, and your mother would do the same. And Lisa said, I am Rose Banks' daughter. That does make a difference. No, she is not just going to do that and say, okay. No, that won't work with my mother. And that is because over a period of time, I have got accustomed to this. Leave something behind that your kids are never too old to be corrected. I don't care who they are. I don't care how old they are. You got to understand that. I think that is more prevalent among black mothers, not of the new modern mothers of this day, but back in our day. I mean, they didn't take no stuff. I mean, they took nothing off of you, no matter how old you are, and tell you, don't forget, you ain't never too old for me to whoop you. And you know what? It wasn't just words. It was true. It was true. You could get in a world of trouble by just talking too much. Or interrupt a grown-up's conversation. And I was sitting around grown-ups talking, and you say, oh, no, Grandma, that wasn't the way that happened. Did anybody ask you anything? You stay out of grown people's conversation. Those type of things I didn't like because I thought I want my kids to be able to say something to me and I say something back. I don't want them in a situation where you can't talk about anything to me because you can't. If you're wrong, I'm going to tell you that. If you're right, I'm going to stand with you. But back in the day, you remember that. You remember that if you want to get your kids to do the right thing as little kids, you train them up in the way they should go. And in the end, they won't depart from it. So it says, don't spare the rod. It says you're going to have to spank them. You're going to have to discipline kids. And we get caught up with Dr. Spock, and he never had a baby. He don't know about anything. And so I look at that, and I think we had a lot better children back in the day than we have today. They respect elders, whether it's family or not. It was yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, no matter what. And everybody that you talk to, you put a handle on their name. If it was your auntie, you had to say ain't so-and-so. If it was your uncle, uncle so-and-so. If it was your cousin, cousin so-and-so. You couldn't just call them by their name. But you know, we had young people coming along that had respect for elders, that was careful what they said and what they did, and knew that you couldn't get away with it. So I think if we look back, leave something for your children, because they're going to have children. And when they have children, when they run into this situation, what do? I do what mama did. It worked then. I do what grandmother did. It worked then. It'll work today. But now I think we give our children too much room. We just give them too much and Mommy, that's not the way it is. No, that's not the way it happened. You don't know what's going on. But we respected our seniors and we didn't do any and everything. I want you to set a pattern for your life that once you check out of here, no matter what they come into, they remember this, how you dealt with the situation. Very important. Very important. So if I deal with it right, my children will do it right. If I deal with it wrong, they're going to deal with it wrong. We got people in church, pastors should be concerned whether or not you did things right because these people are following you, walking in your footsteps. Should you not remember and regard the fact that as a result of that, I must be careful as a leader, how I walk, what I do, how I dealt with every situation. Michelle said to me when I was coming to church to take care of something, I can't remember what it was, at a business meeting, she said, I'm just going to watch Sister Rose and see how she handles this. You know how many people look at that? Okay, this is a different situation, how she's going to handle this. That's why you got to do it right. Because somebody is saying, I'm going to do it the way you did it. Because it works. It really works. So listen and say, I want to be a person that my kids can hear me talking to God. My kids know when I shut the door, it's prayer time. My kids understand, don't interrupt me in prayer unless it's an emergency. Don't come in and bother me. This is me and God's time, not me and your time. These things are important. They literally structure our kids and lives to do a good thing. Leave something behind that somebody can say, refer to that. Refer to that situation. She was different. She wasn't your ordinary. She called your name in a heartbeat. But it ain't for a wrong reason. It's for something good. Even the people that think even to this day, well, I don't know why you have to do that. Just accept it. And this is what it is. The scripture says when people sin, rebuke before the church that others may fear. So if I pull you on the carpet, I'm pulling you in because everybody here is watching this. And so he says, rebuke them openly. So everybody's looking at this and they're thinking, I don't want to get like that. That happened to me. So then they fear that. Fear helps us to walk in the right path. If we didn't fear God, we might do anything. But if you fear God, it's going to make a difference. Think about it. Will your kids say, my mother really never was no good. My father, he was a drunk. We never had anything that we could pattern our life after. Give people something to pattern their life after, be it in the church or be it in a private situation with family. What are you going to leave? What are you going to put on the thing? When Paul came to the end of the journey, he wasn't saying, well, I hope I make it. Paul said to Timothy, he said, I fought a good fight. I kept the faith. I finished what I was called to do. And now is there a crown of righteousness laid up for me. Not me only, but for all of you that love his appearing. Come to the end of your life and say, thank God, thank God. I finished the race. I'm not at the end thinking, oh, I hope I don't go to hell. No, you shouldn't be there. I know where I'm going. I live my life every day that way so that I can go down this road. If somebody don't like you, you'll get accustomed to that. I don't worry about people liking me or disliking me. I have a job to do. If a preacher gets suddenly concerned about whether or not you like them, they can't do their job. I'm not looking for popularity. I'm looking for to be sure that I left enough here that'll get you to the kingdom if you'll follow it. I don't care what church you go to, and I can't speak for the church, but I can speak for this one. If you come here and follow what you've been told to do, you're guaranteed to get to heaven. You're guaranteed. Don't hold back when it comes to discipline. Vitally important to whether people grow or not. Vitally important whether they're strong enough. You got to look at it and say, you know what? I just want to do it right. We sing that song, I just want to be right. I just want to be right. When my son-in-law said to me, you helped me to be strong. I made him do things he didn't want to do. He looked at me like I'm crazy and said, you want me to do that? I said, yes, I do. Like, are you losing your mind? No, I'm not. He always stands there. I know the ability this man has to do, but he doesn't want to use it. So what do? I make him stronger for the day that after I'm gone, you can handle some things. And I told him, with all the situation we was going through, go up to the FBI office and talk to their attorney. He said, you want me to go to the FBI? I said, yes, I sure do. I said, I'm praying for you. Go ahead. You can do it. He was scared. And when he got up there, you can't hardly get back. Was that the place? No, you was trying to get to one of the, I guess the judge or whatever it was. This was another incident that I sent you on, and the doors open when they were supposed to stay locked. I said, go there. You can't get through. You got to ring and get it cleared here. You got to ring and get it cleared there. You got to ring and clear. It's always a bunch of doors clearing. And you got to speak in this little speaker they got out there, and then they'll unlock the door and let you through. So that goes all the way till you get to the place. I can't remember who that was. Was that chief judge? So I said, go up there. He said, Mama, he says, they got doors up here you can't get to. I said, go through the door. Keep going. So he buzzed, and he told who he was, and they let him through. He buzzed again. They let him through. He did this all the way through till he was standing there looking at the chief judge in his office, and the judge looking at him like, how did you get in here? Because if you're on a journey for the king, you don't fear people's title. No. And he comes back out feeling like Mr. Macho. He come out of there, Mom, you know, he went in there and told the judge what was going on. I mean, he's got it going on now. He done went all the way through. He comes out, he's feeling good. Great. This is great. Then when I sent him to the FBI, and he said, okay, he went up there. Didn't have so many doors to go through. Went in. Stated his cause, and 5 other church people went with him. And the FBI's judge said, you should sue the FBI. Now, he said, Chief Counsel, you ought to sue them for what they did to you. They're not taking sides with whatever, but when you heard the story, he said, you should sue them. He said they broke the law. He'd have never got that. He had to be feeling like he had a box of Cheerios. I mean, boy, he was happy. I mean, and the church people's there with him. I don't know who all was it, 5 people. And he's telling us that shouldn't happen. That's against the law. Thank you. Thank you for telling us that. But sometimes you're going to have to tread through some storms. You don't fear man. If you fear man, you will never accomplish what God called you to do. And you'll go down in history as the weakest joker on the planet. They were scared. They wouldn't do nothing. They were scared to go here, scared to go there. No, go with it. No matter what happens. I think we think, well, what if this happens? What if it doesn't? Just keep going forward. Because somebody is going to remember that testimony and say, God was with him. He helped him. He was scared at first. But Sister Rose pushed him and kept pushing. And he went for it. He is made stronger because of that. He is made stronger. We was on the phone with the attorney, and attorneys charge you by the hour. You need to talk fast. And ever since before he got saved, he used to be in the drugs that slowed his brain down. And so I'm on one end talking to the attorney. He's on the other end. The attorney asked him something. Well, it was such and such a thing, and so and so and so. I'm looking at the clock thinking, tell him. We got to get off of this phone. $450 an hour said talk fast. So when I got off the phone, I said, you're going to have to learn to talk fast. We already spent $450 and over that, and he's still talking. And they don't care if he's talking slow. They making money. Push him. People talk too slow. I can't deal with them. Let's get it done. Make it happen. That's my word. Make it happen. You can make it happen. Get up and move on it. Quit showing yourself all the reasons why you can't do it and say, no, I can. You're never going to hear from Sister Rose for any situation, well, it's just nothing you can do. Oh, no, yes, it is. It's something you can do to make a difference, but you got to go out there and fight it. Be strong in the power of the Lord and his might. Stand tall. You'll be hated for it. People won't like you for it, but do it anyway. This is what I'm going to do. You know what Sister Rose did it, let's go for it. Otherwise, you'll be sitting around scared to death of nothing. We don't have to fear man who can only destroy the body, and after that, no more that he can do. But fear God who can do both of them things. So what I'm going to do? Ain't no time. You know, some people in this church, you couldn't get them to come up to this pulpit and just say something to the people. You want me to go there? Are you kidding? I'm not going up in front of them people. My daughter Lisa, they had her one Mother's Day, I think it was, to bring a flower to me. See, the Mother's Day anniversary. And she's so scared coming up here. She yells at me, stand up! I'm thinking, it's not time to stand up. I'm sitting down until you get here with the flowers, and then I will take them. And she's so nervous because everybody's looking at her. And she looks at me and says, stand up, Mama. I said, okay, let me get up. Before she have a breakdown. None of them like to come up front. None of them. One of them mind if she's up in front of people, but the other girls, no. They can get around if they're going to. I said, Lisa, why are you afraid? Everybody's staring, just staring at me. I said, I get stared at every week. I don't worry about it. Mama, that's because you're up there. I said, yeah, but there was a time I didn't want to be up here, and I'm up here. And I'm not concerned or worried about people staring. Well, what they supposed to look at while I'm preaching? You're supposed to take and look at the person that's speaking. So I'm supposed to just, y'all, I'm coming up to preach. Count the lights. I don't want nobody staring at me. The only time I've ever really been nervous coming in to church is because when I go on vacation and come back, that is the most uncomfortable feeling walking out here after 2 weeks, because this is what they do. I said, turn around. I don't get standing ovations. I stopped that long time ago. Nope, you're not clapping for me. That's the most uncomfortable feeling in the world. Everybody's standing up. No. So they finally got the message and they quit doing it. But that's the only time I feel somewhat nervous. Or if anything is pointed just toward me, I never am comfortable with that. They used to have anniversary every year, and I tricked them into saying, let's do it every 5 years, and I never came back with it. Never came back. Because on that Sunday, I am totally miserable. Because everybody's looking at you. Everything is said about you. Everybody's staring at you, looking at you. I'm just, And Pete, he's got the nerve to sing a song that don't even belong with this. It don't even belong with what's going on. That's a Mother's Day thing. And here's the we think we're so glad for the rose. Isn't she beautiful? Uncomfortable. And it just keeps doing. I said, it's enough. Take a seat, buddy. Unless it's an anniversary or something, just sit down. I'll take it on that day. But this don't go together. I'm just going to keep doing it. You can't imagine the horrible feeling that goes. So I'm trying my best to get past that. I probably will not. That will not be something that you can draw from. She was comfortable in any situation. No, I'm not. Just that. Anything else, it doesn't bother me a bit. I don't care if you had people standing around the walls and everywhere and seated everywhere. It wouldn't faze me. But don't put the light on me. Because see, up here, if you look at me, I'm talking about Jesus. This is about him. This ain't about me. That's very easy to do. But if you change that, no. But you can conquer anything if you want to. I put up with some things that I don't want to conquer, I put up with. But it's not because I couldn't handle it better. And so I said, well, you don't even look nervous. I thought, don't come over close to me. Yeah, I'm nervous about that. But I think if you can make people understand, you got to believe in your strength that God has given you. You got to believe in who he made you. You got to believe that you do possess the power to do what he said do. You possess it. Do it. Something you leave on record that makes a difference with people that you talk to. This morning, I wouldn't have gave up this morning for anything in the world to bring Jose up and hug him. To me, it was the highlight of the service. To me, it was what needed to be done. To me, it sends a message that you're important, Jose. You're important. We got to take, what do we do with the power that we've been given? To reach out, to make a difference. He'll never forget that the longest day he lives. He'll come into some situations and say, you know what? I run into a lot of people that seem like they don't care, but I tell you what, Sister Rose cares. Leave that. Say, I'm going to be a person that don't run from the giant, rather I go toward him. When the giant was threatening David, he didn't run. You have to admire his courage and his strength. And he was fearless to go toward that giant. After all, he said, I'll feed you to the buzzards. No, I'm going to feed you to the buzzards. Turn it around. When it looks like something not going to work, turn it around. You can change it. You can change it. I want you to remember this, that pleasing God guarantees us that our life can be secure with him if we please him. When God proved himself to those standing around that Jesus was his son, and that he said, lower voice from heaven saying, this is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased, says, I love him. People heard it. I'm pleased. You got to live your life that every day, if you please God, you'll always do it right. If you don't please God, you won't do it right. Because the things that's important to him have to become important to you. If they're not important to you, it's not going to work for you. See? If Paul said, but as we were allowed of God to be put in trust with the gospel, even so we speak, not as pleasing men, but God which trieth our hearts. God called me to this job. He allowed me to do this job. And put it in my trust to do it right. You can do it right. I tell the preachers in this church, I want nothing more from them but that you please God and do it right and be ready every time you're called to preach the gospel. I don't have to worry about if I'm going to be ready because I spend my week in prayer and study. So if you do that, you know you're going to be okay. But if you haven't, then you become a lack of confidence instead that God's going to be with you. I told my son-in-law one time, I said, you cry every time you preach. You know what he's doing? I ain't done everything I should do. Help us, God. I'm repenting before you right now. I said, Cliff, quit crying every time you go up to preach. Just preach the gospel. But he's trying to explain to the Lord, you know, I may not measure up. I may not do everything I could. That's what the tears are about. You You don't want a preacher that comes to the pulpit and he repents while he's preaching. He needs to walk in a certain place. Yeah, he's not doing that. He can come up with confidence. Confidence, the fact that God's going to do it. Why? Because I did what I needed to do. So if I do what I need to do, God's going to do what he needs to do. He's not going to leave you hanging. He's going to be there with you to get you through it. Understand? I said, if you preachers stay ready. I don't know whether Sarah was relieved last night, was Friday night. I told one, I said, call Daryl. Call Daryl up. Now, we just discussed it sitting in the chair. We talked about Sarah first. At the end, I said, get Brother Daryl. She comes right on up. Sister Sarah, we're going to ask you to come on. I told you, your mind that short? We just said it. And then she come back and say, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't either. See? But we went home that night. We said, Sarah said, not instead of saying, no, I want to preach. No, wait a minute, let me preach. No, never did holler. Never did holler. Think about it. That's what God called you to do, and you ought to do it with great joy and excitement. Yes. I hope that you will give this some thought and think whether or not I have something to leave behind or do I have nothing. You know, if you've done a lot of good things in your life, you'll never be able to put it in a book. Everything will never be told. But if you've done nothing and they just need a notepad to write it down, that's bad. That's bad. Think about your testimony. When you stand up in church to testify, what are you going to tell us? Anything? Or we just keep saying, sit down. Sit down. Here it goes. Or when we see you come and say, wow, this is going to be something. Or they say, oh, who's preaching? He's long-winded. He's too short. You know, he screams a lot. We go through all these different things. You don't want to be marked by something. But that I delivered the message. That's what's important. So think about it tonight. All this week, make it a point to say, if this was my week to leave this life and pass over to the other side, what would I leave behind? Ask yourself that every day this week. Have I been a good mother, a good father, a good friend, a good supporter? That if I passed away, I would be missed because of that which I contributed to people's lives? Ask yourself that. And be honest about it. Don't say, well, I think I'm pretty good. No. There's room for improvement. We all can improve. We can get better than what we are today. Think about it. What's the testimony? We get up and say, anybody got a testimony in here? And somebody stands up and we say, close testimony service. That's not good. Think about it. You want to have something special, something to give. And Kent, you haven't testified in ages. Look, Daisy moving her head over so I can see you real good. I told one day, I said, I haven't heard Kent testify. I can probably tell you how many times that you should have been up that you didn't get up. He was. I said, we ain't heard from Candace. I said, we ain't heard from her. We could start looking into it. You make me know that you're at church. Not because something dumb you did, but because no. Not that. That I'll remember that one next week and next week. Okay? But think about it, that you're not going to get translated. Don't even go there. You're not going to get translated. That was done once and once. Moses, God buried Moses. He's not going to bury you. So I didn't get no policy. God going to bury me. No, he's not. God buried one person throughout Scripture, and it was Moses. You're not Moses. Don't you think for me? My grandmother, bless her heart, she meant well. She got robbed with a policy that she got for herself. She said, I'm not going to worry about the Lord to bury me. I thought he's not going to bury you, Grandma. We're going to have to bury you. She lacked wisdom and really believed it. And Brother Ledbetter was here. He was saying he's going to get caught up to meet him in the air. You're going before the rapture. He's 80-something years old, and he's going to be caught up in the air. No, you're going by way of the grave, brother. Did he go by way of the grave? Yes, he did. And I said all the time, he really believes he's going to be here. He believes the rapture's coming in his day. You're 80-something years old. You're getting out of here. People are thinking you getting ready to be caught up in the air. He said it all the time. I had this vision, and the Lord showed me different things that was going on when the rapture take place. He just revealed to you what will be. You're not a part of that. You better prepare yourself. You're going to die. Teach yourself, don't go home tonight and say, you know what, Enoch was translated. That don't apply to you. It tells you that God can do it. It says that you can live your life so that he's pleased with you, but you're not going to escape the grave. I want you to go home thinking that. I just want to go out like Enoch. You're not going to. Let it go. That's not the piece that you were supposed to take from this. But having a testimony is. That's what's important. God bless you. Sing a song. Give them a song. Yes.